Plus, I like purple ties.
Sorry, I didn't give you a purple guitar pick. I have one other Milwaukee question that I overlooked here, but in Milwaukee and other parts of the country, the housing market is out of whack. In our market alone in southeastern Wisconsin, there's 5,000, the market's out of whack by like 5,000 houses that need to be on the market for it to have equilibrium. And a report this week said tariffs could tack on some $6,000 to the cost of building a new home. How long are people going to sit on their cheap mortgages from COVID? Thank you very much. And before they move on, before the market frees up.
So you have several things there. The first is we just haven't built enough housing, and we haven't kept up with the demand for housing. So there's an underlying shortage. Before the pandemic, there was a real housing shortage. And by the way, that's happening in many comparable democracies around the world. The second thing is, lock-in, as you say. There were very, very low mortgage rates during COVID, and people are kind of locked in. It would be very expensive to move, and that'll of course wear off over time. You also mentioned, the costs of materials that might be imported, lumber and nails and things like that. And yeah, and also labor. A lot of labor from in the home building business has been traditionally immigrant labor. So yeah, the sort of new build market, it may face some cost pressures as well. That may very well be the case. That's what we're hearing from home builders, for example, both on the labor side and on the materials side. But even once these short-term things happen, we're still going to have not enough houses. And so it's all, I think for a long time, we're still going to see upward pressure on housing prices, maybe until population growth slows or until we catch up.
You mentioned that we're kind of in a period of waiting right now to see how policy ripples out through the economy. How long do you expect that to take? How long do you expect these big policy changes to show up in our day-to-day lives, in prices and supplies and things like that?
I mean, for a while, we didn't know what was coming on April 2. Now we know what came on April 2. We don't know. There's a lot more to be said about how all that shakes out. But we've come through that, and I think you now know that the tariffs are larger than people were generally expecting. That much now at this point. And you'll know more as you start to see the effects on the economy. So as the months go by, it's hard to say exactly when you'll know. But clearly that learning process is ongoing. We're just seeing that these are new policies, not just the tariff policies, but the other ones as well. There'll be important fiscal legislation coming up fairly soon, and there'll be regulatory changes, significant regulatory changes. You have to really look at all of that to see what the overall effect will be. So I can't give you a date, but all of that is now kind of coming into place at sort of the speed you would expect policy changes to be, and then we'll begin to see the real economic effects as the year goes on. But again, I can't give you a really specific date.
Is the fiscal legislation the tax cuts?
Well, yes. I mean, I know they're contemplating, and again, we don't comment on fiscal policy, but what I read is that they're contemplating,